ahead and start a new day, which is amazing. A new Thursday. It's so awesome because it is Texas Power Up time. So good morning, and let's get started. Start putting those hands up for shout outs, highlights of any kind, anything exciting that you would like to share with the group. And the reason we do this is because gratitude, starting with gratitude first, is absolutely a success pathway in life. So I'll be waiting to see your hands. I hope I can see them. Oh, Casey Carlson. Yes, sir.
What's up? Okay, so actually I have 3 shout outs. One is you, and also Daniel Weiser sharing your birthday week with Mega Camp. I think, we made a big deal out of y'all, but also, it was something that you had to share. And then I also wanted to get a big shout out to Joseph Madrid, who held the fort down here in the office while we were all at Mega Camp, leadership, Austin team, BKT Austin. And so just wanted to just hype him up because I know that he kind of led our folks at the watch party, and grateful to have everyone here. I loved seeing all the notes and everything. Way to lead yourselves, guys. Good job.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Helen, good morning.
Hey, good morning. I apologize for the video off. I am driving right now, but I wanted to express gratitude first to Tracy, who did a watch party for us. Now, I'm in Oklahoma, but I was able to get on Zoom, and she streamed Mega Camp for us, and we were just all able to literally be together for all of Mega Camp. So that was just really cool, and I'm just super grateful for doing that, because she had to drive over an hour to do that yesterday and Monday. I don't know what day it is, but you guys know when it was. So just super grateful for her. And then I am also grateful for my clients that were in that super affordable price point of that, that 200, 240, 250 price point. That's everyone's price point and investors' price points. And we were just really fighting for a while, just getting outbid left and right. And they did not give up. We try to encourage our clients as best we can, and they just persevered and pressed through. And actually, they were like, you know what, let's just go new construction. Let's just go all new everything. And so spent a Saturday just looking at new construction homes, and now they're under contract and super excited, and they'll be able to move in 2.5 weeks. So super excited. They're first time homeowners, and they didn't even think that they could get or find a new construction home, in their price point. So I'm just grateful for their grit, because it took a lot of grit.
I love that. Right on. And it's grit. And this market is really awesome for a lot of people. I'm ready for it. Thanks for sharing that with us, Helen. Dana, good morning.
Hey y'all. So I want to give out a shout out to Chelsea Angelotti on our team. We took a listing together, and she was out showing the house and then made a connection with the neighbor. She gave the neighbor the link to the house on our website, and they put that out on their community group because this house was kind of an upgraded house in the neighborhood. And she got so many leads from that neighbor posting that house, and she had a listing appointment yesterday for it. So I just want to give a shout out to her creative thinking, because
yes, that's awesome. Okay, that's cool. So the neighbor put it on their Facebook page?
Their community Facebook page.
Nice. Wow, success through others is pretty awesome. I love that. That's a good share, Dana. Thank you. Brandon, wrap us up.
I will wrap us up with a couple shout outs. So the first shout out for our operations coordinator, Matt. We're working on growing our ops team. So he's staying resilient. We've been at for our team record pendings for the last 2 months in a row. And so he's been handling that well. And we're going to start recruiting that VA this week or next week. So I'm excited about that. And then just a shout out to the team in general, staying resilient with the market shifting. I think not including me, our average PAP for pendings right now is a little over 2. and we've been shooting for a 2 per agent PAP for all year now. So even with the market shifting, deals falling apart, they're getting back out there, putting them back together. So that's awesome. And then the final shout out is for Andrew and Alicia. They're delivering the dream of homeownership to themselves again. They went under contract, sick ass house this last weekend. And the shout outs for the house, they're 30 and 30 or 30 and 31. They're young. Forgive me if I'm wrong, guys. But this is their 4th house. And so they believe in homeownership. Obviously, this is their 2nd house in this market. They had 2 in Midland. And this year they had to, well, they didn't have to, but they decided, you know, for their own, you know, plans and goals to sell one of those houses in Midland that wasn't performing the way they wanted it to. And I know that wasn't cool, right? We don't want to get rid of houses. But they turned around a couple months later and they're doing the move up to get their new investment. It's awesome. There's going to be well, I'll let them tell you about the house, but they were able to get strategic with their finances and their business profits and things like that, and put it to something that's going to, you know, build their legacy for their kids and everything. So super shout out to them. It's always fun when our partners are buying houses.
I love that. That's awesome. That makes me super, super excited, man. Lots of growth happening over there. Congrats on your pendings and your per agent productivity. Matt, you're a killer. You are a born killer. We know that. I only hear very little, but you know how I know people are born killers? I never hear that there's problems because they're taking care of it. And Alicia and Andrew, awesome. Let me see. I had a couple shout outs. Man, I wanted to shout out everybody who went to Mega Camp and played all in. That's the key there. Played all in. They weren't there just for a good time. I saw so many people taking notes and people connecting, which I thought was really cool. I wanted to shout out Michaela in Dallas, who set up an epic place happy hour on the Westin rooftop. Not easy to corral a bunch of people, especially a bunch of entrepreneurs. I am so glad Casey shouted out Joseph, who held down the fort, because I also wanted to shout him out. And then I wanted to shout out Mackenzie and Faith in Austin, who managed transactions and just leveling us up in the office during Mega Camp, right? Like one of the things that I took away from all of Mega Camp was the fact that our success is built on the foundation of our staff, our virtual staff, our in-house staff, our just everyone, just man, like just going to town and just helping us while we're out in the field, while we're at events. Could not do this without you guys. So I'm so appreciative. Everyone that is a staff member, you guys are so valued, and man, we really couldn't do this without you guys. So thank you for giving us your time and your heart and your expertise. I'm going to switch gears because we've got a couple cool people that we're going to talk to this morning. As you all know, Mega Camp Convention was this week, and my aha that I heard a lot of people say was it was really good. It was a little bit like going to a party, which is cool. And that they really enjoyed going to Built How more. And it's not because one is better than the other. Like, I want to make that distinction real clear. It's not a better than. And I thought about that and I thought, what is one of the reasons? And one of the reasons Keller Williams Mega Camp is Keller Williams people, which is awesome. Built How, Ben goes out and finds wherever they are at whatever agency they're at, whatever brokers they're at, because it's broker agnostic. So we get some of the best in the industry, not just at one broker. So I thought that was kind of cool. Really looking forward to hearing today's Mega Camp takeaways. And also looking forward to anybody that we're going to see at Built How September 29th and 30th. It's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to start out with this. Gary Keller said this, and I want you guys, if you don't take notes, this would be a good time to take notes because we got some good people sharing this morning. He said, your job is to have enough conversations so you don't live and die by their decision to make a purchase. Your job is to have enough conversations so that you don't live and die by their decision to make a purchase. Their individual decisions should not make or break your success. Their individual decisions should not make or break your success. And I think I really like that, because God, isn't that true, right? Like, how many times has that happened to us where we were counting on somebody and they did not come through for us? So this morning, I've got a couple guests. Let me grab them for you over here, and I'm going to explain the process for you. The process is going to be that I'm going to have a panel of 3 people who raised their hand and wanted to share this morning. And then I'm going to end with Casey and Jordan on a leadership note. And then we're going to get off here and we're going to go and implement all of this, right? So that's the goal. That's the plan. I'm excited. And I'm going to figure out how to even do it on my phone. So let's see, I'm gonna spotlight Miss Dana. Let's see, spotlight for everyone. Yes, ma'am. And then I'm gonna spotlight Jonathan. And I hope this works. You guys can tell me if it doesn't, but so far, hopefully it does. And then Miss Allie, who I got to spend a lot of time with. Let's do that. Does everybody see 3 amazing people?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't see it the same way. So I'm so happy you guys can. Let's get started. Okay, Dana, where are you from?
I am from the Waxahachie Market Center. I live on Richland Chambers Lake, so that's even further south. And I run the DFW South team.
Whoa, I love it. Jonathan, where are you from?
I am here in Austin, Texas, on obviously your team here in Austin. So super excited. Originally from Illinois, Chicago, moved down to Austin in 2020 and loving every second of it.
I love it. Allie, where are you from?
I'm from Dallas.
Dallas, let's go.
Dallas, yeah.
Okay. We're just like taking this whole like I-35 and just killing it. All right. So first things up. So we're gonna, guys, just so you guys know, we're gonna ask them all 4 questions. So I might even write these questions down and then just write their answers next to it. I'm gonna ask them their favorite script that they heard, favorite script, and how they're gonna use it. Their favorite stat that they heard and how they're gonna use it. So script, stat, and then 1 to 2 takeaways that they learned. 1 to 2 takeaways that they learned. We're gonna wrap with, what does business growth look like for them next? Or what are they going to implement next, right? So script, stat, takeaway, what's next? That is how we're going to do this morning. So speaking of, first script that you were like, man, that was good. Just whoever wants to go, knock it out of the park.
I'll go first. I'm going to warn y'all, I do not have this polished. I was not expecting to say this quickly. However, Gary said on stage yesterday, I think it was, he gave a casino script example. So a lot of us are dealing with, the house might have been worth more a couple months ago, and people are putting off trying to sell or whatnot. And so he gave an example, and this is going to be a little bit butchered, but if you walk into the casino with $100 and then you get up an additional $500, so you've got $600, and then say you're down $300, but yet you're still up $200 more than you walked in with. The money was never in your pocket, so it wasn't real. And so it's still a win. And he kind of gave that example to kind of handle that objection when people are trying to decide, should they sell now, should they not?
I like it. So they're going to still be up $200.
Yes.
I like it. I like it. I hope everybody got the casino script right on. Allie, I see you unmuted.
Oh, I didn't mean to, but
Oh,
it's okay.
Well, here you are. You're going to be Dana's twin over there. You guys like matched in red today. You guys are ready for KW red.
She's trying to copy me. It's the thing she does. It's like, just kidding. So there's so many great scripts, but the one that I'm really pumped about using is one that is not new, but works. And it's the golden letter script, and just door knocking in general. There were 2 great ideas that go with that. One is that I'm excited to look up properties that are owned, or where there's one owner for multiple properties within a neighborhood. And I'm excited to see if I can get them to buy any more homes in that specific neighborhood. That's part of Christina's script.
How would you do that? Any idea how you would do that?
So what I want to do, because an additional idea that goes with that is the leaf bags, because it is about to be fall. Did you guys hear the leaf bags? I see y'all smile. Yeah, what a great idea. And I love that they didn't pick up the trash for a couple of months. So they just sat there, but definitely want to go door knock, but with that as well, with those leaf bags, and I'm just going to be putting them everywhere. Yeah. So Christina's golden letter, I can put that in the link in the chat, but the golden letter script is more, it says, would you be interested in buying a home in this specific neighborhood? Because I prospect extensively for off-market homes. I noticed you own multiple homes in the same area. And part of my thought with attacking that piece of the golden letter and investors is that one of the stats, and I'll stop talking after this, one of the stats was that 28% of homes in 2021 were bought by investors, basically. So 1 out of 4 homes. So not necessarily that I want the whole market to be dominated by investors, but might as well capitalize on that while it's happening. So
I love that. I love that. You know what I love? A golden letter does not have to be a letter.
no,
Like you're going straight to the source, because the letters have like a return of like, maybe if you're lucky and you did everything right and you did it for a year, a 1% return rate, right? But like phone and face to face has a higher conversion. I love that. Jonathan.
All right. So obviously tons of awesome takeaways. The one that I really liked was the conversation. I can't remember who it was, but the conversation around referrals and asking for referrals. Asking for referrals up front in a transaction, even before we're under contract or while we're out looking, saying, hey, listen, is there anybody that you know that I should be talking to about buying or selling? And if they tell you something or someone, wonderful, great. Can I get their email, cell phone number, best way to contact them so I can make 100% sure that I get in contact with them. And then, you know, the script continued on with, if for some reason they don't know anybody at that time, well then, or even at that early point in the relationship, you say, listen, if for some reason you don't have anybody, and I haven't heard a name and received a phone number or email, by the time we're at the closing table, then I'm going to ask you, is there something that I did wrong or that I could have done better? And really, you know, working with our current clients to figure out who else they know that we need to build a sphere with, and to reach out to.
I love that, because if anyone's read the Red Book, which Gary went on and on about the Red Book, and us like not reading reading the Red Book so much that we forget about the Blue Book. What's the Blue Book? Anybody remember the Blue Book?
Millionaire real estate investor.
Yes, millionaire real estate investor, which that's our real job, right? To like become wealthy through real estate investing. But there's a stat in the Red Book that says 12 to 2. The 12 to 2 stat. Anybody on the call?
Past clients?
Oh, close. Anybody else? I could tell you, but I want to give you guys the floor. Okay. So essentially, the 12 to 2 ratio means that for every 12 people that you know and have a relationship with, this isn't everybody in your database, right? It's not leads. I'm not saying leads. I'm saying real relationships, people you know, whether they're past clients, whether they're friends, whatever, people you know, people who like and probably trust you, right? From every 12 people, 2 of them will have the desire to transact that year, or have a referral of somebody in their network who has a desire to transact that year. It's a 12 to 2, right? So it's an amazing concept when you think about your 12 closest friends, your 12 closest like allies, your champions, right? So if you have 24 people that are VIPs, right? If they're true VIPs, there's probably 4 opportunities every year just from that, right? So anyway, love that. Okay, stat time. What stat were you like impressed by or scared by? And how are you going to use it?
I'll go. So far as the actual specific stat, they threw a lot out. But what I really liked was like the framework around working with our sellers to essentially make a common enemy against the other active comps, and showing them with stats, right? The average showings per listing, based on, you know, price per square foot in a neighborhood, the number of price reductions that we're seeing within that zip code or area, and showing them, hey, listen, we're seeing a 20% reduction. And then new listings and expireds per day, right? So really building the case to our sellers, saying, listen, if we want to be successful in this market, and if we want to net the most amount of possible, we need to lead the market, because days on market is the highest enemy of our top sales price, right? So we need to be very, very strategic with that. And then the last note that he mentioned was we have to get ahead of the market drop, right? And really put an emphasis on the drop, because if all of a sudden sellers start seeing prices fall, he mentioned the thing that's going to happen is everyone's going to flood the market. And then it's a terrible, terrible situation for our sellers. So, you know, use the word drop, get ahead of the drop. And if for some reason the seller is like, listen, no, I can't go that low, it doesn't make sense to me. Okay, great. Let's have really, really clear conversations about price adjustments. So that way we can be ready for when we get into that situation where there's no showings, we're several days on market with no activity. How are we going to handle it and have that already handled up front?
I love it. There was a one-liner in there. I hope you guys got it. Days on market is the enemy to our sales price. Ah, love it. Love it. Dana or Allie, anybody?
Okay, so mine is always the market update, hearing Gary and Jay talk about the market, because we hear about the Texas market a lot and our local market, but I don't always hear or pay attention to, you know, our market in the US. So they had the chart up there on the screen, and it showed the median home prices since like 91. And then everybody knows about like in 05, 06, 07, whenever the market freaked out then. And so they said it took 7 years of the average price being above the trend line for it to pop and start going down. And in relation to where we are now, we're only on year 2 above the trend line. So when you hear a lot of people talking about like the market crashing and our prices, like that gives you a good sense of putting it into reality, that this isn't actually all that crazy and that sort of thing. And then 2, Jay said, if we didn't have any more home appreciation, using the average appreciation of 4% a year, if we didn't have any more home appreciation, it would take 4 years. It would take us 4 years to get back on the trend line. So I totally loved hearing that too. So even if you bought now and the market didn't go up anymore, home investments are still the best investments.
I love that. So true. So true. And perspective is important, guys, right? Perspective is important because we do live in a time where information is no longer like the thing that we all have, right? Because everybody's got it. Like that's not going to differentiate us anymore. The days of like having MLS access and being the only people who have MLS access, like that's gone, right? So our job now, like our superpower, is putting things into perspective. So I love that. Allie, what was your favorite stat?
Oh, I mean, I love that, Dana. But mine is one that I put on my Instagram story, and it's not necessarily my favorite stat, but it's what I think that my followers relate to the most, and it's the rent versus own numbers. So it's not new, but it's anytime I post something like that on my story, and I allow for people to get engaged with it, inevitably, like there's people like I said, so I guess I put 2 buttons, like, so would you rather, pay someone else this money, or would you rather be putting it into your own pocket? And of course, there was a couple people who said they'd rather pay someone else, and I messaged them, and I was like, wow, why? Why would you want to do that? But those are the people I actually want to talk to, that stirred up a conversation. But the rent versus own numbers, I just think I really like the way that he did it, and he showed that even if you're renting, but you're investing 10% every year, just the amount of money that you can make over a 10-year span is nothing in comparison to what it would look like if you were to invest in a home. And I think that the conversation around that with a lot of people that I know or anybody that I can encounter that's not bought a home ever, is just start somewhere. It doesn't have to be perfect, but right now is a perfect opportunity with the numbers that, you know, Jonathan sharing is the number of homes that are still on the market, or the number of price drops that are out there. Like, this is a great time to buy, and this is a great time for you to ensure that over the next 10 years, you're gonna put a ton of money back in your pocket, not just like a 10%, you know, thing every single year. So
Man, now I totally forgot about that slide. Good thing you guys bring these things up, because we've all seen the slides of like, well, if you know, if interest rates went up, here's what it would look like. Here's how you can win, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, great. Everybody's doing that. The slide that was shared at Mega Camp was not one I had seen before. Essentially, their research team scenarioed three different options of like, if you had taken the down payment and then, you know, waited, I think it was 10 years, 10 years, how much, what would the equity would have been in your home. And then if you took that same down payment and you put it into like I think like stocks like Vanguard or something like that, what would be like your return? Like if you had done that 10 years ago, right? And like another thing, I forgot all the nuances, but we should get that to everybody, Allie. I actually don't even recall the slide, but I really, that was a good slide. Agree.
yeah, I'm working on figuring out how to put it in the chat right now. Otherwise I'll just email it.
Love it. Takeaway time. 1 or 2 takeaways? Anybody? Dana, I saw you. You went fast, girl.
So my favorite takeaway, and I didn't even catch this agent's name or write it down.
Oh,
but
no. There you are.
Built her business on 20 phone calls a day. Like, she didn't have a newsletter. She wasn't like door knocking or holding a bunch of open houses. She simply got on the phone and talked and connected with 20 people a day. And it was that simple.
Calls.
What up? Oh, can you guys hear me? Sorry. One of us, probably me, is like lagging, and I apologize for that. Who was that agent, Dana?
I didn't catch her name.
It's Stacy Sauls. Yes, thank you. I was hoping somebody knew. That blew my mind, because right away, as soon as she was on panel, I like slacked my Mega Camp channel on my team, and I was like, do we just need to cut everything that we're doing and just go back to the normal, like have 20-25 conversations a day? Because she is building, like, how much business did she do last year? Anybody remember?
She does over.
How much, Jordan?
Her team does over 100 million.
I think it was 142 million. I don't have my notes in front of me, but somewhere in that range. And they do it on freaking how many conversations, Dana, a day?
Just 20.
I mean, oh my gosh, right? Like, I mean,
I'm sitting here thinking we have 20 phone calls a day, and then we set them up on market reports. Like, that's a whole nother level. Like, we all should be killing it.
Yeah. I love that. Awesome takeaway. Allie or Jonathan?
Ladies first.
Okay. You know, one of my biggest takeaways is just how grateful I am for Place and for our teams, because obviously a lot of the information that we heard from the panelists was incredible, and there are great things to use and to take away, but a lot of them are not original ideas that we haven't heard before. They're all things that our team actually talks about and tries to implement, you know, like on a daily basis, but it's as simple as just doing it. Like, these people that were on stage that are uber successful, it wasn't that they necessarily had any kind of major secret to their business. It's just that they're doers. Like Chris Suarez said, they're just doers. They have an idea, they run with it, they do it, and it works. You know, I think that's one of those things. I'm sure we didn't get to hear about the struggle along the way, but my biggest takeaway is that I just need to do the things that I'm thinking of doing. I need to use these ideas, and it's as simple as 20 contacts a day, or like that. I think his name was Pete said, you know, make 20 new friends a day, or like, don't look at it like it's some, you know, terrible task where you have to call these people that you don't know or whatever. It's about serving people. And I think that's my other big takeaway, which is already, you know, kind of my main purpose in life is just to serve others and love others, but just this whole thing, like everything that we do in this career in general, it's really just about being there for other people. And I think that if we just go after it with that same mindset that a lot of our team does already, it's pretty, I mean, I feel pumped up. I'm like, man, I can't wait to serve more people. I can't wait to use these ideas to serve more people. And I can't wait to just do it and be one of those people that says, guess what? So I didn't do anything exciting. I just did what we were supposed to do, and check out this business I've got. So.
Yeah, it was funny because like I think I remember like one of the panels, like you could sense that they were a little uncomfortable because they physically felt like what they did was like not sexy. And Gary is like, no, I want you to say what you do. And like the girl's like, 20 contacts a day, like that's my superpower or whatever. And he's like, no, I want everybody to get how simple like the building blocks are so simple. And oh, by the way, you can build block your way to 100 million on one thing, right? It's kind of crazy. I love it. Anyway, Jonathan, you're up. Gentlemen, last.
Thank you. And then like kind of build on that, right? Like I love these conferences because every time we come away, it's something so simple. And kind of build on what Ali said, like the successful morning routine, right? Like win the morning, you win the day. I personally suffer huge anxiety all afternoon, all evening, because I didn't do what I was supposed to do in the morning. So if we, like Gary says, he's not successful all day long, but he's super, super successful in his morning routine, sticks to his time blocks, doesn't let anything get in the way of that. And we've been coached to do that like our entire time in real estate or here on the team, right? Like, so it's like Ali said, it's something that we all know that we should do. We just opt to not, whether we get busy in production or whatever it is. But obviously there's some super, super successful people up on stage this whole week that they haven't lost track of that and what they need to do to continue to move the business forward. So that was my number one takeaway. The other one that I really liked was from Dan Holt talking about the playbook. So he used the analogy, kind of a football analogy, right? 4 plays to get to the first down. And, I played college football, so like I really resonated with that. And just the fact that he kind of brought in a couple elements where the team leader or the coach is making the calls when we're behind, right? So if we're behind in the game, if we're behind in the score, that our coach is saying, listen, here's what we're going to do next. You never run the same plays twice, right? You always, if the first play didn't work last week, then you run a new play or you call an audible, right? And then he kind of transitioned into taking that into our coaching and like the 15th protocol, right? So if we're behind at the 15th of the month, us agents need to shut up and we need to listen. What do we need to do to get ahead, right? What do we need to do to get caught up? And us not run the meetings, but listen to our coach, listen to, whoever that person or persons are, right? It sounds like, a lot of these successful people have several coaches, right? And really being able to sandbag our business with regards to understanding what steps we need to do next.
I love that. We talked about that right away because we like looked at each other and we were like, oh, the aha here is like, if you're on track, we get to talk about what you want to talk about. If we're behind, we get to talk about what I want to talk about. And it's going to be how we're going to get on track, right? So I love that. And then to your point on winning the morning, one thing I was sharing with Jonathan was back in like, I'm old enough now to be like, I was in the business 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? When the morning wasn't something cool we said. When the morning meant that's how you got to stay in business. Like the last 2 years, 5 years, even 10 years, like we've gotten really used to being able to not have to do the right things and still be successful. We are successful in spite of what we do, not because of what we do. So be real careful with that. But 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that, you couldn't be successful in spite of what you did. You didn't win the morning, you were out of business. And so it was just kind of like I was like, I could feel it in my heart. My heartbeat went up. Like when I heard that, I was like, oh man, those are the good times. So I love that. What's next? Oh, go ahead, Jonathan.
And just to chime off of that, right? Like there was one graph that I believe Gary showed where, the market that we just came out of the last 2 years, like we could make up with that like activity, right, to get business. Now, like the amount of time that we spend prospecting and sourcing has to dramatically increase, right? And so in order to do that, we have to be super, super focused about our goals and, you know, actually hit the metrics that we need to hit.
Yeah.
Love it.
Add on to that. So what I took from that is we don't just need to like double down on the normal lead gen that we should be doing anyway. We need to like increase that, like more than double down. We double down, we can maintain almost, but if we, you know, triple down, then, you know, we can continue to build. And I think the video from the Duke basketball coach, I think it was from Duke. I sometimes I make stuff up, but just it's hard. Like the good stuff is hard. And as long as we can get through the hard, obviously a lot of these people who've been in the business all this time, it's just as simple as doing the things that have always worked and just doing more of them and increasing the numbers on everything. But I love that Duke basketball coach where she's telling her team, you know, listen, if you're looking for the easy, it's not going to get easy. We just need to get better at handling the hard. And so I watch, you know, you think all these people go to conventions and stuff like that, almost to find the secret answer, the key to making things, you know, amazing. But the truth is, it's hard work and it's doing the things that work, and being willing to get past those hard moments. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Dana, what's next for you?
Well, Jonathan,
What are you going to implement?
I was talking with Sharon.
Jonathan just told me, or just told everybody what I was going to implement, like the mastering the morning. I've heard that for years, but it resonated a whole lot more. And they even said, they're like, real estate emergencies typically can be handled after 11 o'clock, like the handling repairs or whatever's blowing up can be handled after 11 o'clock, that you still have to protect your morning. And then like even your mornings at home, like that's the part that really hit home to me, is like having your routine at the house on top of that. So that and the 20 contacts a day are what I plan to implement.
All right. Can we hold you accountable?
Yes, definitely. I'm going to need
All
it.
right. Cool. All right. Everybody heard Dana. I love it. I love it. Allie or Jonathan, anybody? What's next? What are you implementing from all of this? So much.
You want to go, Jonathan?
I know you're chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah, same as Dana just said, just morning routine, right? I really like what they said about finding yourself first, right? Handling yourself. I think we're all guilty of the second we wake up, we grab our phones, we check Slack, we go to emails, we start responding back, and then there's no returning at that point to yourself. Like you're handling everybody else's problems. So, you know, waking up early, which, you know, shouldn't be a hard thing to do. It just means you go to bed earlier, but waking up early, that way you can handle yourself. You know, we've heard Chris Suarez and so many other leaders so many times where they, you know, they get up, they read, they do their devotions, whatever it is, do their workout, and then by 7 o'clock they're ready to go and handle everything else that's thrown at them. But they're in a good mental mindset to be able to handle the rest of the day. So that was my big takeaway.
Can he hold you accountable to that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Everybody heard him. I love it, Jonathan. I love that. Allie.
I'm gonna do the hard stuff that I've been not wanting to do. So I'm going to make the 20 contacts a day. You can hold me accountable to that. Don't really want to say that, but yeah. So 20 contacts a day, 20 new friends a day. I'm gonna do all the hard things. And I'm gonna do the leaf bag thing because I just like love that. I love little gimmicky things like that. It's not even necessarily gimmicky because it's valuable to have some leaf bags, but I definitely am gonna door knock. And just increase my numbers overall.
I love that. Well, so all of you who shared today, like, would you put your contact information in chat? Because somebody may have heard like something that you said and they need that slide, or they need like, they don't know what the heck the leaf bag thing was and they need help with that. Like, and I know you guys have the answers. Also, please put them in your phone as your referral connection, because they're over here like taking time instead of going to sleep last night preparing for this, so that they could be quick and can just really be as succinct as possible for a Texas Power Up. So, and we appreciate you guys just a ton. And I also want to shout out all of our staff and agents. Like, I see you guys in the chat. I can't actually physically look at it because I'm on my phone and it's all this a whole mess, but I see how much you guys are posting in there right now. Like, I just on a side note, like, you guys make the world go round, right? Like, there's so many heroes on this call. Speaking of heroes, I've got a couple. I want to wrap with Jordan and Casey because I love these guys. I went from maybe a leadership standpoint, like what are they taking back, or what do they want to share out of all of this? What do you want to share? So I'm going to turn it over to one of you guys. Are you guys spotlit?
I think so.
Okay, bingo. All right. Jordan, I love your red. I'm going to go with you because you're if anybody ever wants goals in life, Jordan is it. Her hair and her outfits are goals all the time. Like, I get on here and I'm like, God, I need to step up my game. Jordan, you're up.
You're darling. I really wanted to share my takeaways from Gary's top 200 group. Kind of letting you guys know that conversation is similar to the conversation that's had on the main stage, but from a leadership standpoint. And so Gary started with, you can get creative if you want. There are a million ways to go broke. And so he really emphasized going back to the models. He drew out a triangle for us. He showed us, like, if you really want to get to the very, very, very top, the higher your ambition, the less choices you have. And so when they look at CEOs, when they look at people who have grown big companies, they all follow similar models. And so if you want to climb high, if you're very ambitious, if you want to make, $250,000, $500,000 a year, you have less and less choices to get there. And once you fall in love with that idea, the better off you are. So it's about following models, and intentionality will determine the height that you will fly. And that doesn't mean intentionality in everything. That's the good thing. You don't have to be intentional in everything. Gary Keller gave us an example that his dog is really, like, poorly trained. And you would think everything in Gary Keller's life is, like, meticulous. He's like, I can't train my dog well because I'm focused on being so intentional here. My dog is, like, horrible. He's the worst. But we love him. We get up every day and we just love him and love him and love him. And that's not something I choose to be intentional about. And so you really have to ask yourself, what things must I be super intentional about? And the other things you can kind of entrepreneur your way through. But what are the non-negotiable, let's say 3 things that you have to be super intentional about that will set your life apart? He said that following processes that either you've created or have come before you frees up mental space to keep building. But so often we have to go back and revisit the process, or somebody can't get on the process, or they don't follow the process. And that takes execution time away from the company. So getting with your company and getting on processes that either you've already created or your team has already created, and getting with it helps us all go faster, further together, because we can keep building. But when we got to slow down and re-educate you on the process, or get you back on the process, or go off process, we can't go as fast. He re-mentioned the video from Duke. Allie, you were right. That was from the women's coach of Duke, which basically said, ladies, things aren't going to get easier. Just learn to do hard better. And I love that. When our son Aiden was born, I found a little meme that said, we do hard things. He went to NICU. He had breathing issues, and he was there for 17 days. It said, we can do hard things. And that became our family motto and one of our affirmations at night. And then my second son also went to NICU, got ambulanced to another hospital. And I brought back that visual from when Aiden was born, like, our family does hard things. This is no big deal. It's just who we are. So Gary talked about, on his shirts and his mugs, he has affirmations. They're not for you, they're for him. So that when things get hard, he looks up and he has a mug that says, never settle, never give up. The last thing that I want to leave you with is, no business ever failed by scaling down. And I don't necessarily mean, hey, let's lay off, let's get small, whatever. But there are small models. Like we get creative. We should get creative when things are good and things are booming and try things. But when you're in a shift, you're going into a shift, you know it's coming, you know things are going to get tight, you know you have to lead gen more. You should get back to the profitable basics that you know. And that's what I love about Stacy. Dana, you brought that up, Stacy, going back to 20 connects a day. It's 100. It's what we all did in Bold. And honestly, for a bunch of Navy SEALs, which is who we are with Place, that should be nothing. That should be no big deal.
I love all that because I literally had a few agents like text me and be like, oh my God, do we need to do Bold? And I'm like, oh my God, you should be doing Bold every day.
Just be bold.
Like, I mean, like, let me just like help everybody. Bold is where you do like 100 contacts a week, like for 7 weeks or whatever, right? Like that's the premise of Bold, guys. Like, boom, done. You could do it every day.
And Bold is about putting yourself in an environment that changes your mind and causes you to like get out of your comfort zone and think bigger, which we're in every day.
Yes, because the individual agent does not have that. Like, I mean, they would be sitting at home like me, or maybe going to the office and trying to make it happen, right? And I was thinking about Chris Suarez. Oh my gosh, like the guy is on every single Friday, and we have like a mini mega camp every single Friday. And we have, not because I'm counting, I was just really curious actually to see like how much of Texas, of our group, like is on Fridays. So in July, this is really weird, I know. I really did track it. I wanted to see like how much of Texas is on. And so just in case you were wondering, it's 38%. 38% of our Texas agents that are like on our teams are on the Friday calls. Then this was just in the month of July, and there's a lot of travel happening. So I'm not, it's not a judgment. It's just, we have a mega camp every Friday. So man, I love that. Those are good stuff, especially the first one about going broke. Girl, I was there with you. I was like, shoot, man, that's me. It's me. Getting creative to go broke. That's what, like, just you want to say creative, like just underline it, highlight it, put it in italics, bold it, and just say, do I want to go broke? Because that's what getting creative means in a shift. Man, you're awesome, Jordan. Not only does she deliver in the looks department, there's a brain there that is amazing. Love it, love it, love it. Casey, wrap us up.
Well, I got to say, I'm a little upset that I didn't get the same treatment.
Your beard is amazing. Definitely a 10 out of 10. There's a lot of effort going in there.
Yeah, it's freshly oiled and everything. But no, just kidding. I think my biggest takeaway from everything that was said at Mega Camp, and I think the whole point of like this market and this moment in time, I think is motivation, right? In this market, motivation is a superpower. I think identifying motivation, using motivation, and even knowing your motivation, right? I'm hearing it more and more, these buyers, they're just not motivated. This seller, they signed, but I just don't know how motivated they are, right? And that might be the case, right? But there's also a possibility that we just didn't dig deep enough and we didn't find their real motivation, right? And so I was really struck, the Jeff Glover and Sarah Reynolds panel, like it's come up so many times today. It was so powerful. And they talked a lot about knowing a client's motivation to keep them moving forward in this market, right? We've said all the time, this isn't the kind of market where it will drive motivation. This is the kind of market that will reveal motivation, right? And the secret here is using good questions to really dig down and find out, why are they doing what they're doing, right? And so that's for clients, but I also heard multiple leaders talking about our motivation as agents, right? No one, I love this one-liner, it's no one else is responsible for your motivation, right? That's something we bring to the table. We bring it to the table for our teammates. We bring it to the table for our business. We bring it to the table for our clients, right? And so no one else is responsible for that. That's something that we bring. That's part of our value, right? Is knowing our motivation and bringing it with us. So if you don't know your big why, if you don't have an elevator pitch for that, I would say get with your team leader, with your director of sales, your productivity coach, right? Identify your big why. And then once you have it, once you know it, like put that in front of you every day, every night, internalize that, systematize it, right? And know your elevator pitch. Like you should be able to say, my big why is, and then like have a couple of sentences to really boil it down to, and have it on your mirror in the morning, have it next to your bed, on your bedside table at night, right? Like really dig down on that, and then bring that motivation with you to the office every day, right? A lot of people are going to get super wealthy for the rest of this year, and we want to be one of those people, right? And it's going to be the motivated. It's not going to be the ones looking for motivation, right? The people who get wealthy this year are going to show up with the motivation, and they're going to have to stay focused and not lose it. But I love, the last thing that I'll say is that Gary said, even in a market you think sucks, about 5 million people are going to end up buying and selling real estate, right? And so even if we think the market sucks, like let's get out there, let's represent those people, and let's go.
Man, I love that. I love that. One of the things that I remember doing in the shift was getting scared that I was not going to be able to hit my goals. Like I have anxiety. I know a lot of you guys have anxiety. It's kind of the thing in our generation, unfortunately, right? And I remember hearing Gary say, how many do you need? How many units do you need? Look in your MLS. Are there that many sales? And any of us look in our MLS, and I'm sure at that point, I only needed 100 sales. 100 sales. If I could do 100 sales a year, that took care of my family and it took care of my team. And what do you know? There were like 20,000 sales a year. Like I could get my 100 in the worst market ever, right? So right there, the motivated are out there. I love that. There was this guy I sat next to at a dinner, and this perspective just hit me in the heart, and I wanted to share it with you guys because it goes back to motivation and what everybody on this panel talked about. Often in a relationship or on a team, because a team is a relationship, that's what it is. It's a partnership, right? 50% of the responsibility is me, 50% of the responsibility is you. I work, you do the dishes, or I cook, you do the dishes, or we support you and you do the lead gen, blah, 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 right? So we hear a lot of that 50-50 talk. And he was much older than me. I was trying to connect with him, trying to find a common ground. And so one of the best ways, if somebody's much older than you, I'm not that old, but I certainly am not. I'm still young enough to where he thought I was young, which was awesome. I asked him, what, you look like you've had a really awesome life and you have a lot to share. What's something that you feel like I should know? And he was like, oh, probably the most important thing I've learned over the course of my life is it's not 50-50, it's 100% and 100%. You have 100% responsibility to do what you said you were going to do, to contribute to this relationship. I have 100% responsibility. It's not you have 50% and I have 50%. It's not the team leader has 50% responsibility, the agent has 50%. No. We have 100% responsibility in what we're doing. And the reason things fail is because we're thinking it's 50%. So when we give 30%, we're like, well, we gave 30% of 50%. We didn't give as much as we thought we gave, right? And so when you are looking at life, and am I giving 100% in this relationship, not 50%, 100%. I thought that was really, really, really awesome. And then the thing that I want to wrap up with, because all this is wrapped up in this bow of consistency. Mark King, who's the president of Keller Williams, he said something that inspired me. He said, who remembers for how many years he's been doing the 7:30 a.m. Friday call on wealth building? Anybody remember? Since 2003. Every Friday, 7:30 in the morning since 2003. Not awesome at math, only 6%, but it's almost 20 years of a 7:30 call before he was president of Keller Williams, right? When he was what he would call himself, I've heard him say it, a crappy little agent, barely getting started, came back from a mega camp, and he was going to teach profit share, and he made this flyer and nobody showed up the first time, nobody showed up the second time, the third time. And so then he called it wealth building and started doing a call on it. And he does it 7:30 in the morning for, I don't know how many Fridays that is. It's 52 Fridays or 50 Fridays times almost 20 years. Where does that kind of consistency show up in your life? That was my thing, was where does that show up? Where does it show up in my parenting? Where does it show up in my relationship? Where does it show up in my business, right? Because that's the kind of, that's what consistency means, right? And it's not a judgment, it's an inspiration. I heard that and I was like, 7:38 it for me. But let me tell you, I'm very clear that consistency matters hearing that story. So go out and kill it. I know a lot of you guys are doing a 1,000 dial day. I know some of the Austin agents. We wish you the very best as you do that and you crush it. Next week, Thursday next week, falls on the 1st, which is the first time in 14 months that's fallen on the 1st. And guess what? Everybody's going to do in-house power-ups because they're going to be quick and you're going to get right to it. And you're going to, whether that's, voice to voice, or it's going to be, face to face, however, you're going to have seller relationships that day. It's a big day for seller relationships. What we're doing and what Chris says for us to do is to just front load our month with those seller conversations. Just take those 3, 5, 10 hours, however long your business needs for you to get in front of sellers, do it on the front end. So there will not be a Texas Power Up. And it's not truly just because it's that, I'm also going to be in Hawaii. So I thought, man, it's awesome. You guys can do a 20-minute quick power up and get to it. And then we'll be back with a whole lineup in September. It's going to be awesome. And I can't wait. You guys are the very best. I will check chat and see if there's anything I need to actually look at. You guys are amazing. Have a good rest of your week. We will see you tomorrow on Chris's call, which will be higher than 38%. Bye, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.